Baton Rouge. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, brother.
And welcome to the Israel of God Bible study class, where we teach this Bible by subject and title. My name is Brother James, and reading for us today is my beloved brother Todd. And the title of today's lesson is My Sister, My Love, My Spouse. My sister, my love, my spouse. Okay? Now, today's lesson is about an ongoing relationship between this groom and his bride. Okay? Now, some of y'all might be thinking, we did this lesson about a year ago on a Let Us Reason Together show, and it was about these relationships between men and women. Some of y'all may have seen it. Well, this one is not that. This is another groom and another bride. And we're going to read it today because the story is still going on right now, and it's not finished. Okay? So, if you're a woman, you can take some lessons from how this bride behaved. And if you're a man, you can take some lessons about some of the things that this groom did. Okay? So let's start this lesson in the Songs of Solomon. The Songs of Solomon, chapter 4. Songs of Solomon 4, brother. And let's pick it up at that first verse. Go ahead and read it.
Behold, thou art fair, my love. Behold, thou art fair.
Yes.
Thou hast dove's eyes within thy locks. Thy hair is as a flock of goats that appear from Mount Gilead.
And right out the gate, this groom is paying compliments to this woman. Go ahead and read, brother.
Thy teeth are like a flock of sheep that are even shorn, which came up from the washing, whereof every one bare twins, and none is barren among them.
Go ahead.
Thy lips are like a thread of scarlet, and thy speech is comely. Thy temples are like a piece of a pomegranate within thy locks.
Sound like he trying to sweet talk somebody, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and read.
Thy neck is like the Tower of David, builded for an armory, whereon there hang 1,000 bucklers, all shields of mighty men.
Go ahead.
Thy two breasts are like two young roes that are twins, which feed among the lilies.
Yes, sir. Now skip down to verse 7 and continue, brother.
Thou art all fair, my love. There is no spot in thee.
He's saying ain't nothing wrong with you right now. That's what the groom to be is saying to this woman. And there's nothing wrong with you. Go ahead and read, brother.
Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse.
Yes.
With me from Lebanon. Look from the top of Amana, from the top of Shanir and Hermon, from the lion's dens, from the mountains of the leopards.
Yes.
Thou hast ravished my heart, my sister, my spouse.
See, already he's called her my sister, he's called her my love, and he said my spouse. Go ahead and read.
Thou hast ravished my heart with one of thine eyes, with one chain of thy neck.
Go ahead.
How fair is thy love, my sister, my spouse. How much better is thy love than wine?
And if it's better than wine, it's awful good. Go ahead and read.
And the smell of thine ointments than all spice.
Go ahead.
Thy lips, O my spouse, drop as the honeycomb. Honey and milk are under thy tongue.
That's got to be real sweet right there. Honey and milk under the tongue. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the smell of thy garment is like the smell of Lebanon.
So now, So now let's go into that first chapter of Songs of Solomon, because we got to see who this man is and who this woman is. Let's go to that first chapter, Songs of Solomon. You might want to put a marker once we leave this spot, because we're coming back one more time, okay? Songs of Solomon, first chapter, verse 1. Go ahead and read.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
So we see that Solomon wrote this. Go ahead and read.
Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine.
So wait a minute. Somebody might say, well, wait a minute. This a man talking to a man? What it looked like, right? Go ahead and read.
Because of the savor of thy good ointment, thy name is as ointment poured forth. Therefore do the virgins love thee.
Go ahead.
Draw me, we will run after thee. The king hath brought me into his chambers. We will be glad and rejoice in thee. We will remember thy love more than wine. The upright love thee.
Go. It says the upright love thee. Go ahead and read.
I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
Go ahead.
Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me.
Now this part we have to remember. He said his mother's children are angry with him. Let's remember that part now. Make you a good note. Go ahead and read.
They made me the keeper of the vineyard, but mine own vineyard have I not kept.
So this groom saying he's the keeper of the vineyard, but he didn't keep his own vineyard. Let's see what happened here. Let's find out who we talking about. Let's go Isaiah chapter 5. Isaiah chapter 5 and pick it up at that first verse. Isaiah 5 and 1, because he did a whole lot of sweet talking right there. But then he turned around and said, I didn't even keep my own vineyard. Isaiah 5 and 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
Now will I sing to my well-beloved, a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Yes.
My well-beloved have a vineyard in a very fruitful hill.
Yes.
And he fenced it and gathered out the stones thereof and planted it with the choicest vine.
Now y'all pay attention to what's happening. Now, he's saying that his well-beloved, his vineyard, he put it in a fruitful hill. He fenced it. He took all the stones out of the vineyard, gave it the choicest vines. Go ahead and read.
And built a tower in the midst of it.
He built a tower right smack in the middle of it. We're going to find out what that is. Go ahead and read, brother.
And also made a wine press therein. And he looked that it should bring forth grapes.
So he did all this good stuff to build this vineyard. So he planted these vines, and he wanted some good grapes to come up. But what happened, brother?
And it brought forth wild grapes.
So it brought forth some unacceptable grapes. Go ahead and read.
And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, betwixt me and my vineyard.
Go ahead.
What could have been done more to my vineyard?
So he asking the question, could he have done more to the vineyard? Go ahead and read.
That I have not done in it. Wherefore when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes.
Go ahead.
And now go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard.
So now he's going to tell you, since he planted the vineyard, he was looking for grapes. He got unacceptable grapes. Now he's getting ready to tell you what he's going to do with the vineyard. Go ahead and read it, brother.
I will take away the hedge thereof.
He's going to take away the protection. Go ahead.
And it shall be eaten up.
And then everybody going to come and eat it up and destroy it. Go ahead and read.
And break down the wall thereof. And it shall be trodden down.
Go ahead.
And I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned, nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain, no rain upon it.
So what happens with a vineyard if you're not getting any rain on it?
It's gonna dry up and die.
That's right. You be dry bones in the valley. Go ahead and read, brother.
For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
So that's who the wife is. It's the house of Israel. I'm looking at y'all. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the men of Judah.
Yes.
His pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment.
Go ahead.
But behold, oppression.
He was looking for some right judgment, but there was oppression there. Go ahead and read.
For righteousness. But behold, a cry.
So we have found out that the vineyard, this bride, this pleasant woman, is the house of Israel. So let's see what happened. Let's see how they met. And let's see how it went down, brother. Did you finish that?
That was in the 7.
Okay, that's good. So now let's go Exodus chapter 1. Exodus 1. And let's see how it started. How this relationship started and what happened afterwards. When this wife brought forth those wild grapes. Because this is definitely an ongoing story. It has not ended. Right here in 2021, August the 21st, it's still going on. But people won't pay attention to it. Exodus 1, verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel,
So here's that vineyard. Here we go. Go ahead and read.
which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob.
Go ahead.
Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah.
Yes.
Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob.
These are all Jacob's children right here. Go ahead and read.
Was 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already.
Go ahead.
And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly.
They increase how?
Abundantly.
Go ahead.
And multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them.
So now, ain't nothing changed about Israel. Make more babies than anybody. I'm telling y'all, if you get around some Gentiles, by the time they have 2 generations, we've had 4. Find an 80-year-old Gentile, he'll say, I got 1 grandchild. I got two children, they're in their upper 40s, and I got a grandchild that's probably 6. You find an 80-year-old man of Israel and see what he got. He got children that's 60. He got some grandchildren that's 40. He got some great-grandchildren in their 20s and a couple of them pregnant. Ain't nothing changed about Israel. We gonna make some babies. And as you can read in this book, the more they oppress them, the more babies they have. And we are oppressed and we do have babies. Okay? So now let's move on. Let's go to the 8th chapter and let's see what happened. It said they multiplied, right?
Right.
Let's go to that 8th chapter and pick it up at verse 5. Exodus 8 and 5. My sister, my love, my spouse. Exodus 8 and 5. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the stream, over the rivers and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Egypt.
See, I'm going here to show you guys the beginning of this thing when the Lord started dropping all these plagues down on Egypt, and now he brought Israel, his spouse, out of there, okay? Go ahead and read.
And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs upon the land of Egypt.
I wouldn't want magicians that's going to give me more problems. They should have got fired that day, okay? So this plague was after the water turned into blood. We didn't read that one, right? They did that. So now here come the frogs, right? What verse was that, brother?
That was 7.
Go ahead and read.
Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat the Lord,
Yes.
that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may do sacrifice unto the Lord.
So the Pharaoh told Moses, call on your God so you can get these frogs out here, and then I'll let y'all out of here. Because Israel was giving them free labor as slaves, okay? It was straight slavery going on, and that was the first major time that we had been in slavery, okay? By some brown people that looked like us, okay? Now skip down, brother, to verse 16, and let's see what else happened. Go ahead and read.
And the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
Go ahead.
And they did so. For Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
So now here come the next thing he dropped on the people. Lice all over the people, okay? Go ahead and read.
And the magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. So there were lice upon man and upon beast. Then the magician said unto Pharaoh,
What'd they say, brother?
this is the finger of God.
Of course it is. Go ahead and read.
And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, And he hearkened not unto them, as the Lord had said.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forward to the water, and say unto him, thus said the Lord, let my people go, that they may serve me.
So he told Moses, you go tell Pharaoh to let y'all go so they can serve me. And let's see what else he put on the table. Go ahead and read.
Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are.
So now he's saying, if you don't let them go, I'm bringing these flies on you, okay? But he brought it a little different. Go ahead and read.
And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth.
So he's saying, I'm going to sever the people with this plague right here. Israel lived up in Goshen section. No flies will be up there. It's going to be strictly on the Egyptians, okay? Now, mind you guys, Israel is watching all this stuff happen. They are eyewitnesses to this stuff and watching God do all these things. Go ahead and read.
And I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be.
Go ahead.
And the Lord did so. And there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servants' houses, and into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies.
One more verse.
And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, go ye, sacrifice to your God in the land.
So he's almost fed up, but the Lord keep hardening his heart so he won't let him go. So now let's go into that 10th chapter and look at some more stuff. I went here just to point out to you that Israel witnessed the power of God move them people to let them go and all those other things he did. And then they went out there and turned their backs on this all-powerful God. Their husband, should I say. Exodus 10, verse 13. Go ahead and read it.
And Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt. And the Lord brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts.
Yes.
And the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt and rested in all the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they. Before them was no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such.
Go ahead.
For they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened. And they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. And there remained not any green thing in the trees, or in the herbs of the field, through all the land of Egypt.
So the Lord sent the locusts in there, they ate up all the crop. Okay? So now that means somebody's going to be hungry if they don't have something stored, okay? So now skip down to verse 21, brother, and continue. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt.
Now that's some real darkness if you can feel it. Anybody ever felt darkness? If you can feel it, that's dark. Go ahead and read.
And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days.
It must have been real dark. Nobody saw anybody and didn't even move. That's how dark it was. You could feel it. Now they are witnessing this stuff now. Go ahead and finish that, brother.
But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings.
So Israel had light up in Goshen, but the Egyptians had nothing but darkness. And Israel saw that. Okay? So now, let's go into 12 when he go ahead and spring them out of there. Exodus chapter 12, let's pick it up at verse 29. 12 and 29, my brother. Exodus 12 and 29, and the title of this lesson is My Sister, My Love, My Spouse. 12 and 29, go ahead and read.
And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne, unto the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeon, and all the firstborn of cattle.
Go ahead.
And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians. And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
Go ahead.
And he called for Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up and get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go, serve the Lord as ye have said. Also take your flocks and your herds, as you have said, and be gone.
Yes.
And bless me also.
Y'all see that? Now he believe your God. When your God come down and kill his firstborn, he know that's the only God. His gods are just fake gods. Go ahead and read.
And the Egyptians were urging upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. For they said, we be all dead men.
Skip to 35 and continue.
And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required. And they spoiled the Egyptians.
Spoil mean they took everything them people had. Israel walked out of Egypt with a lot of gold and a lot of silver and a lot of fine fabrics, okay? Go ahead and read.
And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men beside children.
So if you got 600,000 men walking out of there, how many people was that all together? Estimations is 2.5 million walked out of Egypt. Because you always going to have more children and women than the men. Okay? It was 600,000 grown men walked out of there. Estimated at 2.5 million people that saw their God spring them out of slavery and take them out in the wilderness. So now we have to see what happened when this groom, which is God, got that bride out there, and let's see what happened. Let's go into the 24th chapter of Exodus. Because at some point, he had to marry him. Exodus 24, brother. Let's pick it up at that third verse. Exodus 24:3. Go ahead and read it.
And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the judgment. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord hath said, will we do.
So y'all see that, right? Your ancestors said that. All your words, Lord, we gonna do it. Go ahead and read.
And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel.
Go ahead.
And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord.
Go ahead.
And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar.
Go ahead.
And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord hath said will we do, and be obedient.
Go ahead.
And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant, which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words.
Now let me ask y'all this. What nation on planet Earth can say this, that at one time the Lord God came down, presented himself to the whole nation, and made a covenant with them? Who can say that?
No one.
Can Japan say that? Can Rome and Italy say it? What about Nigeria? Can Australia say that? The only people that can say that is you. This happened with your ancestors, and this is why you're getting shot down in the street, because the Lord is whipping your head because you broke that covenant that you made. Who else got sold in public downtown? Y'all know how they have those secret dog fights that are illegal way out in the woods, and everybody don't know where they have those because they're straight illegal. Huh? And then they even got this sex trafficking going on where they kidnapping our young women. That stuff is done in secret because it's illegal. But you got sold standing on top of boxes downtown, in public, fondled, embarrassed, beaten, raped. In public. Who else did that happen to besides you? Did it happen to the Filipinos when they came over here? It happened to you. And the Lord's hand is all over it because you won't do what this book say. You won't do it. And while he's whipping your head in 2021, you still won't do it. But you want some relief, and you ain't going to get it unless you do this. And it starts one household at a time. You still going to get your head ripped off. Okay? You still going to fill up the prison houses, just like this book say. You still going to get killed in the streets, and nobody's going to be held guilty, just like it says in Zechariah 11. You still a speckled bird that don't nobody like. You still scattered among the Gentiles where you are a vessel where there is no pleasure. Don't nobody want to be around you. When you move in their neighborhoods, they want to get up out of there. It be U-Haul trucks galore as soon as you show up in there. Am I lying? But your God did that to you. Wife, unsatiable woman, nowhere close to being a virtuous woman. Your husband did that to you because you kept cheating on him. He go to work and come home, you got Daryl in the house. He go to work and come home again, you got Charles in there. Huh? All them fake gods, and you still dealing with them. You still doing Easter. Where is it in here? Why didn't Peter's children hunt eggs down? Huh? Why didn't Paul set up a Christmas tree in his living room? Is that in this book? Is December 25th in here? Is go to church every Sunday in this book? But you, wife, have been doing all that stuff, and you won't leave it alone, and you expect something to change out here. Ain't nothing gonna change. Where we at, brother? I got lost.
That was the end of 24:8. We are going to Exodus 34.
Let's go Exodus 34, chapter 34, because it said Moses wrote down the words of the covenant, didn't it? Didn't it say he sprinkled the blood? That's when you married God, right there. You married him. You became the wife, and we're going to read that. And by you becoming a wife, you were supposed to go wherever you went and introduce everybody to your God so they could get some salvation. But you didn't do that as the professor, because he made us the professors of this word of God, and we were supposed to go teach all the students all over the world. But we went to the students and bought what they did. If you go over here to LSU and Southern and get all these professors and then take them over here to the Ohio Park Elementary School and take them in there and say, yeah, we got all these professors we done rounded up. We're going to let the second graders teach these professors. That's what we've done. We have sat down as professors of this word, and we have let the second graders tell us what serving God is. And the true test that that's what happened, nothing they gave us is in this book. Nothing. But we still run to it, and we can't leave it alone. We can't let it alone. Meanwhile, out here, you still getting that whooping. You still going to prison. And I mean your children getting killed out in these streets. Exodus 34, my brother, because we just read that Moses wrote the words of the covenant, right?
Right.
Then he sprinkled that blood. That was a blood covenant. That made it real. And y'all know when we say a word 2 times, it got some extra meaning. That was real. Let's go read what the words of that covenant was, Brother Todd. Exodus 34:27. Go ahead and read it.
And the Lord said unto Moses,
Yeah.
write thou these words, for after the 10 of these words I have made a covenant with thee and with Israel.
Yes.
And he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He did neither eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments.
Y'all see what the words of that covenant was? We went into a covenant telling the Lord we're going to do all that. And we don't do none of it. We can't even keep the Sabbath day. We can't even come to class on the Sabbath day. You get up, walk around the corner of the foot of your bed, you hit your toe in the foot of the bed. I can't go to class today. Any little reason you can't come. my sister-in-law, baby cousin Tracy had a car accident. Just whatever reason you got. Anything to do. Just make up one. But you need to get it in your head what serving this God is a lifestyle, and it's your first consideration for everything you do. Because that's what it is. And if you can't get to that, then you need to start working on getting there. Because everything we do in my house is based around today. Vacations, whatever we doing, it's based around getting this day straight with the Lord. Because if you can't get this straight, then you wasting your time. You got to get this one straight right here first. The Sabbath day. It represents Jesus' kingdom. You don't get that? Let's go to Jeremiah 11. Let's go to Jeremiah 11 because he said, look, the words of the covenant was the 10 commandments. And Israel told the Lord, hey, Moses, you tell him everything he say. We going to do that. But we can't do it. You got a little time to get your house in order and increase your fear and your faith, because that's what you need. Jeremiah 11. Let's pick it up at that first verse, brother. 11:1. Go ahead and read it.
The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Hear ye the words of this covenant, and speak unto the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem.
Yes.
And say thou unto them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel.
Go ahead.
Cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant.
Do y'all see that? When you look out your window, who it look like under a curse other than us? Huh? And don't say them Hispanics, because it don't look like they under no curse to me. Because they got big old 4x4s with big wheels on them. And won't even come cut your little yard no more. Why? Because they got corporate contracts. They taking care of malls and state buildings and federal properties. Nobody gonna come mess with your little yard. Get one of your people to do that, huh? But who doesn't look like under the curse other than us? Nobody. Even the Hamites come over here. Nigerians come over here. Ethiopians come over here. They'll move over there in boat cars and ain't nobody gonna have a problem with it. But you move up in there and see what happens. Because the curse ain't on them. It's on Jacob's babies. The one we read in Exodus 1 that went down into Egypt. And we are them. That's who it's on. Go ahead and read, brother.
Which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt.
Which we just read it in Exodus 24. Go ahead and read it.
From the iron furnace, saying, Obey my voice,
yes,
and do them according to all which I command you. So shall ye be my people,
yes,
and I will be your God.
Go ahead.
That I may perform the oath which I have sworn unto your fathers, to give them a land flowing with milk and honey, as it is this day. Then answered I, and said, So be it, O Lord.
And the Lord promised us the best land on the planet, the land of Israel. It says flowing with milk and honey. Y'all know when Joshua and them went over there, and it took 2 men to bring out one grapevine on a big old stick, right? Took 2 of them to bring them grapes out of there. The land was plentiful, the best of climate and the fertile land on the planet. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then the Lord said unto me, Proclaim all these words in the city of Judah,
yes,
and in the streets of Jerusalem, saying,
Go ahead.
Hear ye the words of this covenant, and do them.
Don't just hear them, but do them. Go ahead.
For I earnestly protested unto your fathers in the day that I brought them up out of the land of Egypt, even unto this day, rising early and protesting, saying, Obey my voice.
That's all he wants you to do is just obey his voice. It's just that simple. I'm going to tell y'all something. I was telling my wife this morning about a sister I work with, and she was talking about, we was talking about marriage and relationships and all that. And then I'm telling her, according to the Bible, once a woman marry a man, she belonged to that man until he died. Did she say, even if they get a divorce or even if they get a divorce? You can't be with nobody else until that man die. Well, I don't. I say, well, look, sister. I say, see, listen to me. I said, my view on how the marriage is supposed to go and my wife's view on it come from the same source. This. You, on the other hand, you got your opinion, and you probably a married brother who got his own opinion. So y'all opinions on that thing differ. You see what I'm saying? So the book say if two can't agree, how they gonna walk together? You see what I'm saying? So I said, so you need to get to the point where this book is your source, and then you find a brother where the book is his source, and then the thing will stay right. So you can get mad at each other all you want, because at the end of the day, you both know can't nobody go nowhere. Mm-hmm. So you might as well kiss and make up before the sun go down. Or go make a special cheese omelet with some buttered toast or something. Find a way to make it, because can't nobody go nowhere. Because the book give you the one reason you can do it. So she's like, well, what if this and that? I said, well, see, you keep on trying to put your stuff in there. I'm just telling you what the book say. And that's where you have to keep it. The Lord say, all I want you to do is obey my voice. Simple. If he say go left, go left. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yet they obeyed not, nor inclined their ears, but walked every one in the imagination of their evil heart. Therefore I will bring upon them all the words of this covenant, which I commanded them to do, but they did them not.
He said, but they didn't do them. Skip to 10 and continue.
They are turned back to the iniquities of their forefathers, which refused to hear my words.
Go ahead.
And they went after other gods to serve them.
And that's what you doing with every one of these little fake holidays that come up, where you end up breaking yourself and not even paying your mortgage to get these holidays done. Go ahead and read.
The house of Israel and the house of Judah have broken my covenant, which I made with their fathers.
Go ahead.
Therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them.
Wait a minute. Who gonna bring the evil?
The Lord bringing it.
So why you mad at the white people? Huh? That's like me hitting you with a bat and you got mad with the baseball bat. You got to deal with me because I'm the one swinging the bat. And if the bat break, I just get a whip. And if the whip get worn, I get a belt. And if the belt tear up, I go get a tree branch. Either way, I'm the one still whipping your head, so your issue is with me. Our issue, brothers and sisters, is with God. Because the white people is not the only people he used to bust your head. He got you over there in India right now. You've been over there 1,000 years, hiding out there in the jungle. And if you go in the city, them people of India will beat you to death. And they over there with kinky hair and look just like folks sitting in this room. Go ahead, go on over to YouTube and pull up a video of the city people in the country, India. Look just like somebody you can go to the mall and see today. But you never knew they were from India because the people you see are them other people, the fair-skinned people with some of them are dark. They got the straight hair. Some of them got the little thing for, you know what I'm saying? But we in India, the Arabs took us over there and sold us to them. We've been bought and sold, hung, decapitated, castrated, raped, beaten by everybody on the planet, not just white people. And it's showing you that God got them people doing this stuff to you. Because you won't come back to him. You doing everything but that. You running down to the courthouse with your picket sign every time something happens. You getting your little T-shirts. Has anything changed? Did your Black Lives Matter T-shirts fix anything? Did it? Because your problem is with your God and you won't go back and holler at him and find out what it is you need to do. But we've been reading today what you need to do. Obey his voice. Do that. Try that. Try it for a month and see what happens. What verse, brother?
We're still in 11.
Go ahead and read it.
Which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them.
Y'all see that? As long as you got them other gods, he ain't going to hear you. Just like if the husband come home and his wife got Freddie in there, he don't want to hear nothing nobody got to say. You get rid of Freddie, and then we can talk. You keep running to Lorenzo and Fred and Daryl and Charles, man, you ain't got nothing. In fact, I'm going to get to a point, I'm going to put you out of my house. I'm going to put you in the street, and I'm going to strip you naked, and I'm going to put you out there at the intersection of Gus Young and North Foster. And I'm going to tell everybody to come out there and abuse you and use you up. And I'm going to just sit in the corner and I'm going to watch them do it. And then I'm probably going to help them do it. Okay? That's what's happening to us as a people. We just won't go to our God, our husband. We just won't go to him. We have let the students give us all these other gods, and we bought them, and we can't find them. Not one time in this book. Is Santa Claus in here? And then they gonna tell you that he hit every house in one night. If that ain't no bobblehead action, what is? I mean, my younger daughter went to school and she had them when she was 6 or 7. She said, "Hey man, deer don't fly." They were like, "What's wrong with you?" Well, my daddy said, "Deer don't fly," and deer don't fly. Y'all better give your children some truth while you trying to teach them not to lie to you, and then you gonna end up bagging up a truckload of lies and dump it in their lap. But you don't want them to lie to you. You got it twisted. But let's press on. I'm talking too much. Let's go back to the Songs of Solomon. And let's go to that 5th chapter. Israel broke that covenant because they keep dealing with these gods. They dealing with the Sunday God. They dealing with the go to heaven God. They dealing with the love everybody God. And they just not in this book. Then a brother I was talking to the other day, it almost went fisticuffs with this conversation. And y'all know these conversations about this Bible almost go fisticuffs. Where Brother Cortland at? Where Brother Cortland? Brother Cortland, you remember we used to go to this barbershop? The barbershop over here on Monterey? And me and Cortland over there, was me and Cortland against this brother. Now everybody else in the barbershop is the audience. The brother wanted me and Cortland to break his jawbone. Because he kept coming up on us. And I said, "Cortland, let's go. Because if we break this brother's jaw, he going to go back to the people and say, 'See, I told y'all how they men of God and they broke my jawbone.'" Y'all think I'm playing Brother Cortland? I don't know how that barbershop for a season, it was ground zero for Bible battles. Wasn't it, Brother Cortland? We was over there. But that brother wanted us to do him something. But then his teacher listens to my teacher. Y'all hear me? His teacher do my teacher's lessons verbatim. I saw him do an Easter one verbatim on Easter. Word for word. His teacher got a Quran and a Bible up there. That sounds like somebody don't know what they're trying to do. But that's his teacher. So, hey, but it'll almost come to physical. So the brother in my house, he when you run into brothers on the street, they come with the same thing. Well, what about Constantine? What about the Council of Nicaea? What about King James? And then the brother gonna say King James wrote the Bible. I said, "Hold on, man, King James." He said, "No, man, I let you talk without interrupting you. Now you interrupt me." I said, "But you said something that was false, brother. You lied. King James didn't write this Bible." Then my book was open in Romans. I said, "Did King James write Romans? Did he write Deuteronomy? Did he write Isaiah?" I said, "Man, King James didn't write one word in this book, man. He didn't touch it." He had some scholars from Cambridge and some scholars from Oxford transliterate this book to English. Then he had 11 more scholars to oversee, make sure it was accurate. He didn't touch it. But they memorize all the stuff they hear at the car wash and the barber shop and that racetrack. They memorize all that. They can run it down to you. He wrote on a piece of paper for me. Man, why don't you memorize the 23rd Psalm? How about that? Huh? Memorize some Isaiah chapter 5, man. Constantine ain't got nothing to do with King James. Constantine was, 321, 325? King James was around in the 1600s. What one got to do with the other? But they hear all this stuff, and they repeat it. They want to sound intelligent. But you ain't saying nothing because your opinion means nothing to me because mine means nothing. So what makes you think I want to hear yours? We can read this book or we can leave it alone. Plain and simple. I'm telling y'all, see, most people don't go out there and do this outreach and deal with people on the street. But a lot of time, man, it almost comes to some fighting out there. Am I lying, Brother Daniel? It'll come to some stuff, man, over this word of God. So anyway, Let's go Songs of Solomon, Brother Todd. 5 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
I am come into my garden, my sister, my spouse. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk.
Yes.
Eat, O friends, drink. Yeah, drink abundantly, O beloved. I sleep, but my heart waketh. It is the voice of my beloved that knocketh.
He said, I hear the voice of my beloved. Go ahead and read.
Saying, open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my undefiled. For my head is filled with dew, and my locks with the drops of the night.
So skip down to verse 5 and continue. Let's see what happened. Go ahead.
I rose up to open to my beloved.
So the Lord say, I rose up to open the door for my beloved, which is Israel, which is his vineyard, which is the church. Go ahead and read.
And my hands dropped with myrrh, and my fingers with sweet-smelling myrrh.
You got your good cologne on and everything. Go ahead and read.
Upon the handles of the lock, I opened to my beloved, but my beloved had withdrawn himself and was gone. My soul failed when he spake. I sought him, but I could not find him. I called him, but he gave me no answer.
Do y'all see that? The Lord said he came looking for us, but we had turned our back on him. Long gone, out in them streets. And I'm going to tell y'all one more little story. Yesterday, I met a sister, and I was telling Melinda, I said, Melinda, I heard a crazy story. And he said, what? I said, I met a sister that told me she divorced from her husband, and it was her fault. I said, have you ever heard that before? She said, nope. The sister told me it was her fault. Do y'all hear me? And she said, hey, he was a little older. I was a little younger. I wanted to get out there and run in them streets. And she said, end up, we got separate. We got a divorce. He's still in the house. I'm the one that's out. And I found out ain't nothing out here in them streets. Sister told me that. I ain't never heard no admission like that from a sister. She could have been dead wrong. She still gonna put it on that brother.
Yeah.
Y'all know I ain't lying. But that sister said, hey man, that was on me. She said, I was the problem there. And that's what us as God's wife, Israel, that's what we have to do. We have to admit our guilt. And we got to go back to our God and stop playing. So now, what verse was that, Brother Todd?
We skipping to 10.
Go ahead, verse 10. Go ahead and read it.
My beloved is white and ruddy.
He talking about white with garments, clean clothes. That means you innocent. Go ahead and read.
The chief is among 10,000. His head is as the most fine gold. His locks are bushy.
Yes.
And black as a raven.
Now, who got bushy locks other than us? So the Lord said he went to his beloved and they were gone. So let's see what happened. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 11, brother. No, we don't. We want Jeremiah. Jeremiah 3, I'm sorry. Let's go Jeremiah chapter 3. He said he went to his beloved and they were long gone. I wonder what happened. Charles picked him up at the front door with the suitcase. Something happened. But the Lord said his love was gone, out of sight, wouldn't answer him or nothing. So now Jeremiah 3 and verse 6, brother, go ahead and read it.
The Lord said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backslide Israel have done?
Go ahead.
She is gone up on every high mountain and under every green tree, and there have played the harlot.
So you done went up to all these idols and all these fake churches, and you done played the harlot. You played the harlot. Go ahead and read.
And that said, after she had done all these things, turn thou unto me.
Go ahead.
But she returned not, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it.
Go ahead.
And I saw, when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away and given her a bill of divorce.
Do y'all see that? The Lord say, hey, I gave the church a divorce because she committed adultery. And I'm talking about serving another God. God look at that like you are cheating on him. And that's a foul thing to do. Go ahead and read, brother.
Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also.
Go ahead.
And it came to pass, through the lightness of her whoredom, that she defiled the land.
She said, through the lightness of her whoredoms, she defiled the land. Go ahead.
And committed adultery with stones and with stocks.
And they still doing with stones and stocks and gold and whatever your cross is made out of and whatever your little gods you got made out of. Like my brother DePaul got that song. He said, you got your Jesus piece on, but it's a Caesar piece. Because Jesus didn't have no blonde hair. He never was no white dude.
That's right.
Yeah, grandmama had him on the wall. Don't make it right. You got a Caesar piece on your chain. But the Lord told you don't have no images of likeness of anything in heaven or in the earth or in the waters under the earth. He don't want you having nothing that represent him.
That's right.
Like this brother I used to work with, I said, say, bruh. I said, why you wear that cross, man? Well, you know, because I love Jesus and I serve God. I said, all right, then. I said, you know the book tells you ain't supposed to have no images, right? I said, why don't you go ahead and read that Exodus, bro? Read that Exodus 20, about them first 3-4 verses. I left him alone. And I saw him the next day. He had him. We stand at the elevator. I said, say, bro, I said, let me ask you something. Who made that chain? He said, I don't know. I said, where was it made at? He flipped it over, made in China. I said, so some dude made that? He said, yeah. I said, all right, then. I said, well, who made you? He said, God made me. I said, all right, then. So which one is a better representative of the Lord, you or that thing some dude made? He said, I am. I said, all right, then. Came to work the next day. He had some kind of little coin on that chain. The cross was gone. Y'all see that? But after about 2 months, he put the cross back on. I saw it. Hey, people get stuck in these traditions and they just can't let them go. You know it's wrong, but you just hold on to it. He can't say he didn't know, Brother Todd.
You told him.
And then he reacted to it. He took the
That's
cross
right.
off. What verse was that, brother?
That was the end of 9.
Skip down to 13 and continue. Go ahead and read.
Only acknowledge thine iniquity.
And that's all we have to do. We have to acknowledge that we've been wrong. Go ahead and read.
That thou hast transgressed against the Lord thy God. And hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree. And ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord.
Why, brother?
For I am married unto you.
You see that? He said, I'm married unto you. Go ahead and read.
And I will take you one of a city, and two of a family. And I will bring you to Zion.
Yes.
And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
That's how you know you've been in front of a real man of God, because he's going to give you some knowledge and some understanding. And I tell people that, well, I've been in my church 50 years. I say, why didn't you know that Jesus is the Passover? You've been there how many? 50 years? You've been working at Home Depot 2 years and know your way around the store like the back of your hand. You've been at your church 50 years and you didn't know that 1 Corinthians 5 and 7 said Christ our Passover sacrifice for us? If you had been in front of somebody that the Lord sent to you in 50 years, you would know that by now. So I'm probably the first preacher you ever dealt with in your life. I'll say that sometime. I'll just get bold enough to say that. Because had you been around somebody that the Lord sent to you, you would know something like that. You would know that Jesus said in John 14 and 15, if you love me, do what? You would know that. You would know that John 3 and 13, that Jesus out of his own mouth said, no man has ever ascended where? You wouldn't know that if you've been in front of somebody that the Lord sent to you. How is that you've been there 50 years and me showing you this, it's your first time hearing this? This first time the Lord sent somebody to you then. It's all that simple. And I'm a filthy rag myself. So I'm not bragging on myself by no means. I'm just saying if the Lord sent somebody to you, you would have known these things. What verse is that, Brother Todd?
That's the end of 15.
Skip down to 20 and continue.
Surely as a wife treacherously departed from her husband.
So the Lord says, surely as a wife treacherously leaves her husband. Go ahead and read.
So have you dealt treacherously with me, O house of Israel, said the Lord.
And you ain't been no virtuous woman then. So now let's go into 2 Corinthians 11. Because the Lord, didn't he say that he's married to Israel? Didn't he say that?
That's what we read.
We read that. He said that. I am married to you. Let's go 2 Corinthians chapter 11, brother. And let's pick it up at verse 2. 2 Corinthians 11 and 2. 2 Corinthians 11 and 2. Go ahead and read that.
For I am jealous over you with godly jealousy.
Yes.
For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ.
So Paul said he want to present you to your husband, the Lord, as a chaste virgin who ain't never dealt with no other gods. Go ahead and read.
But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ.
And it's real simple to serve the Lord. Find out what he wants you to do, do it. Find out what he don't want you to do, don't do that. So it's simplicity in that. But watch what happens. Go ahead and read.
For if he that cometh preacheth another Jesus.
Another who?
Another Jesus.
There's another Jesus? There's plenty of them. There's plenty of other Jesuses that's not in this book. Okay? They done got all these different holidays and all these different other gods. They done brought the customs that go with the holiday. They erased that name off of it. They erased Ishtar and put Jesus up there. They erased Molech, put Jesus. Erased Mithra, put Jesus. And that's what you got. So if they come teaching you another Jesus that we haven't taught you, go ahead and read, brother.
Whom we have not preached. Or if ye receive another spirit, which ye have not received.
When we talking about another word, because the Spirit is word, go ahead and read.
Or another gospel, which ye have not accepted. Ye might well bear with him.
And if you keep on reading, it say if somebody come teach you another Jesus because they are false prophet, straight up and down. That's all they are. In fact, let's go on and read it. Skip down to 13, my brother, and read that.
For such a false apostle, deceitful workers.
Yes, sir.
Transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ.
Come on, children, sow a seed and buy one of my holy rags. Go ahead and read, brother.
And no marvel.
And don't marvel at that. Go ahead.
For Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
Go ahead.
Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers are.
Wait a minute. Satan got ministers?
If his ministers.
Watch this. Find you a church tomorrow. That's one of them. I'm going to say that boldly. Find you a church tomorrow and you got one. Go ahead and finish that verse, brother.
Also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their work.
And I'm sorry, if it's your first time here, we do not sprinkle sugar and honey on the word of God. We do it uncut and we read the book to you. That's how we do it here. If you come back next week, it's going to be the same thing. And we're not apologizing. So now, what you need to do with your Jesus, your version of him, you better fact check him. You better see if it's in this book. Because we just read that the Apostle Paul say, they teaching you another Jesus out here. So you better fact check your Jesus. Bump his stuff up against what's in this book. So now, let's go Ezekiel. Because we talking about the Lord and his spouse, the church. And we read about how they started. We read about how they went into a covenant. We even read how they told Moses, whatever he say, we going to do all of it. Didn't we read that? And we read that the words of the covenant in the 34th chapter of Exodus is the 10 Commandments. And we've read that the church, Israel, is the vineyard and they played the harlot. Didn't we read that? They cheated on the Lord with all them other false gods. Well, let's go look at it. Ezekiel 16, brother.